This is Stooge Club! Good morning. Welcome to the Daily Dose. That's right, folks. I'm back. The Stooge is here. And from now on, you get a daily dose of the Stooge. While I have my morning roast, we're going to have a little discussion about something. Topic's going to be different every day. It might be a review, it might be some news, it might be whatever. But while I have my roast, you get a bit of the Stooge. So what are we going to talk about today, folks? Any vinyl collectors out there? Any record collectors? I grew up with records. My first record player was a Mickey Mouse box little record player that you had to open up and put the record on, and that was really cool because I grew up in the early 80s where records were still a thing that hadn't quite been phased out yet. It was the early 90s where records were starting to get harder and harder and harder to get. So in my lifetime, they were just common. It was just a thing that everyone had. And then tapes for younger kids. So like my brother and myself, we got heaps of tapes rather than records. But my parents had the record player and we still had some of our own records. And I had my little Mickey Mouse record player till that thing broke. And then a sad thing happened. CDs became the dominant format where they crunch all the audio and go. So you can't hear any of the depth of it at all. It's made for radio play. And as somebody who hosted a radio show for 4 years, I can tell you the difference between what comes out and what you hear on the radio compared to what we play sounds very different, because we'll be sitting there playing records in the studio. You hear flat CD quality regardless because of the way it's broadcast and so forth. But that brings me to an interesting thing. So a lot of record collectors, they're a little bit different to me. I have a pretty substantial collection. I have some original pressings and printings and, some 180 gram re-releases and a whole lot of special editions and colored vinyl and picture discs. Just because I have a large collection, you kind of get these things over time. But one of my favorite things about vinyl collecting is things like this. Compilations. Now, that might sound blasphemous to some of you out there who are like, no, you have to have the original albums for everything. And that. No, you don't. Okay, so when I can pick something like this up, brand new, for £16, and I'll give you a sample of the tracks on this. We Will Rock You, Start Me Up. I don't even need to really name the artist, do I? You should know all these artists. Jet, okay, that's Wings. You might not know Wings. Jack and Diane, John Mellencamp. Anyone remember him? Born to Be Wild, Steppenwolf. Now the rest, I'm not naming, okay? You guys need to know if you know these artists or not, because if you don't, you should be listening to these songs regardless. Carry On, Wayward Son, Sweet Home Alabama. The original Bat Outta Hell, not Bat Outta Hell 2, which is also a masterpiece. The original Bat Outta Hell. The Boys Are Back in Town. Rockin' All Over the World. More Than a Feeling. You Ain't Seen Nothing Yet. Don't Fear the Reaper. The original Black Betty. So not the Spider-Bait version of Black Betty, which is also fantastic because Cram smashes those drums like they shouldn't exist anymore. I have no idea how he reinforces them to keep them together. Having seen him play live multiple times, holy crap, that dude beats the crap out of a drum kit. All right, Turn It On Again, Give Me All Your Lovin', Jesse's Girl, Love Is a Battlefield. If I could turn back time, The Final Countdown. Any Arrested Development fans out there? That should mean something to you. What else we got here that everybody should know? Africa. We Didn't Start the Fire. Poison. Eye of the Tiger. Living on a Prayer. So for £16, it's like turning on the radio back in the day when they used to play good stuff. You can just put a record on and hear track after track after track of great stuff. Now don't get me wrong, I love album tracks. There's a lot of my favorite songs are songs you've probably never heard of because they're from album tracks that nobody ever plays. They don't get played on the radio. They're not the singles. They're not the popular tracks. My favorite Nirvana song is Sappy. that wasn't even released until years and years and years after Kurt Cobain was dead. Like, album tracks are fantastic, but every now and then, you just want to put something on and just hear the hits, and you hear one after the other. And when you can hear them in this audio quality, when you're playing it on a halfway decent turntable with a halfway decent stereo system behind it, nothing can beat it. Like, I kid you not, if you have not heard Metallica S&M on 180 gram vinyl, played through a really nice needle on a great sound system, you haven't heard that song. You can't hear the depth of the violins and so forth in that song unless you hear it in that format. It's kind of ridiculous. We lost audio quality. What the hell happened? Why did we decide that listening to crap was okay? Okay, that's a rant, sorry. Now over on this one, we've got 70s. Now I'm a big 60s, 70s, some 80s and 90s music fan. So I like metal from the 80s and like some rock from the 80s, but come on guys, pop from the 80s, not all of it was very good. But look, essential songs that defined the 70s, right? Don't Stop Me Now, Benny and the Jets, Band on the Run, Baker Street, If You Leave Me Now, Dancing Queen, I Will Survive, MacArthur Park, I Want Your Love, December 1963. Now, they have to put a little thing next to this so you actually know what song it is, even though you should know it's called December 1963. Oh, What a Night. That kind of gave that away. What's Going On? Imagine, Bridge Over Troubled Water, Changing of the Guards, Ballroom Blitz, This Town Ain't Big Enough for the Both of Us, Tubular Bells, I'm Not in Love, Jolene, Forever Autumn, Bright Eyes, Perfect Day. Okay, I'll tell you, Perfect Day is Lou Reed. You really should know that song. So, you know, these collections are amazing. You put it on and you get to experience that era, that decade, that style of music, the way it was played on the radio back in the day, but with much better audio quality. Like hearing Queen on record, on a decent record that isn't scratched up and in good quality, on a great needle with a great stereo system behind it, is an experience. It's an experience. Really. Experience, not just listening to music. When you can really hear what Freddie Mercury did with his voice, or those artists did with those instruments, you don't just hear it, you experience it. And I don't know why people don't like compilations. I go to the charity shops and pick up a ton of old compilations, like Best of Old Rock, rah, rah, so on and so on, from 80s and 70s disc collections that have been sitting there forever for 50p or £1 each. Are you kidding me, folks? And they're in perfect condition. It's like the people that originally bought them didn't even play them. Why not? What's wrong with you? Anyway, I'm nearly done with my roast, so I'm going to let you go. That was it for your daily dose for today. Until next time.